Hello again. In this video, I'm going to be talking about what you can do to take things to the next level. And this is really about where to go once you've got into this nice, easy routine with 3 meals a day, having good quality meals, knowing what works for you, and having a decent amount of protein with every meal so that you're starting to feel fuller for longer and able to go from one meal to the next most of the time without really needing to snack. Because what I find is that quite often, women, my clients, do quite quickly get into that routine. They'll set up the basics and find it, one, really easy, but two, really effective to stabilise their energy levels, just frees the mind up from always having to think about food or being distracted by snacking. It's a really powerful, very simple way of just, organising your life and organising your eating. And that can be enough. If that's working for you, you're enjoying your meals, you've built up a nice repertoire of meals that stop you from getting bored, so there's enough variation. You enjoy them, you feel full when you've eaten them, when everything's sort of working. It doesn't always take that long to find that, because you don't need to keep reinventing the wheel and keep looking for new recipes and keep trying different things. You can have the same sort of food on repeat really for a very long time. You might need to feel that you want to switch things up in the winter when it gets cold and you want more warming things. And then in the summer, you can start to feel ready for some lighter, more cold, salady things, more raw food, etc. So you can have those seasonal shifts, but within that, you can find that you've just got a nice routine going. As I say, that's fine. If that's works for you and that's easy, take advantage of that and just keep going. Sometimes we're always looking for, feel like we should be doing more or striving to make more progress or looking for something new or something different. And it can take a little bit of, a moment to realise, oh, is this it? Is this all I have to do? Yes, it is. That's all you have to do if that works for you. But some people once they've got that basic framework going, might want to switch things up a little bit, okay? Now, reasons why you might want to switch it up a bit. One, it might be that you've switched to the 3 meals a day and one of your goals was to lose weight and you're finding that you're not really losing weight as quickly or as much as you want to. Okay, fine. We're going to talk about things that will help with that. Other people want to think about, well, what can I do to take the next step for maybe more healthy aging, and that could take you into a fasting area. So we're going to talk about that, because when we're not eating, we're allowing our body to repair itself, to digest properly. And other things that you might be thinking about could be hormone balancing or insulin sensitivity. And this is something that's getting a lot more talked about and a lot more well known, that as we reach menopause and we're on the other side of menopause, women can become more, less able to burn carbs or processed carbs effectively. And that's the fact that our insulin, which is one of our hormones that's involved in getting rid of carbohydrates out of our blood, isn't as sensitive as it needs to be. And that's one of the reasons women put weight on over the menopause. We know that now, not because we're doing anything wrong, but just because the way our bodies are responding to food and the food that we eat is changing. Okay, so we're not able to process the carbs. The way that our body deals with too many carbohydrates is to store it as fat, and that's sort of quite a simple and well-known sort of hormonal response to food. Okay, so some of the goals that you might have. I'm going to talk about some things that you can do to help you with those, and it is in the email that comes with this video. You don't have to try all of them. In fact, I don't recommend that you do. Play the long game here. Try a few different things out for a few weeks at a time. Maybe give something 4 weeks and decide which approach works best for you and what suits you the most. Okay? Because we're all different. What works for me may not work for you. And we also have to pay attention to not making our bodies feel stressed. So, for example, if you wanted to look into intermittent fasting and found it really tough and you were having to just grit your teeth and hang on through a long day of not eating, then that's actually giving you stress. So you want to be finding things that feel easy for you to do and more natural for you to do, so that you can change the way that you're eating to get better results, but without putting yourself under stress, because that can actually be counterproductive. We should be looking to reduce our stress as much as we can. Okay, so things I want to talk about. One of the things you can do, which can be quite, you might already be doing anyway if you're only 3 meals a day, is looking at extending your fasting window. So the idea about fasting, intermittent fasting, is that you're spending some time of your day eating, and when you're not eating, you're fasting. All right. So typically, if you have your first meal in the morning at 7 o'clock, and you have your last meal of the day at 7 o'clock in the evening, then you've got a 12-hour eating window and a 12-hour fasting window. So as I say, and that does count actually, that actually counts as a fast, that 12 hours. So if you're already doing that and that feels enough, then that's fine. What you can start to do is push that out a little bit. So maybe you don't have your breakfast until 9 o'clock, get the maths right here, till 9 o'clock, but you still have your evening meal at 7 o'clock. So that means now that you're eating within a 10-hour window and fasting for 14 hours. That can be a really effective thing to do to help you lose weight. It can help kick-start that weight loss. This is because you're spending less time eating, so it can actually mean that you eat fewer calories, but also your body is spending more time able to spend more time in fat burning mode. So when you've run out of food from the calories that you've been eating, your body starts to tap into the fat stores. Okay. You do have to be careful here, because we can be quite resourceful when we want to and really push or eat extra on the meals that we are eating within the fasting window, which can be counterproductive. So just don't let that be an excuse for you to really go for it when you are eating, and eat as much as you can to get in, thinking that magic fasting window will do all the work for you, because it won't. Okay. So, and when you think about a fasting window, also think about what works for you, because we're all different. I find that I'm very hungry in the day, I get more cravings in the day, and I get more distracted by food during the day. That tapers off towards the evening. So I actually find it very hard to fast in the morning, because it makes me feel quite stressed and agitated. Whereas by the evening or late afternoon I should say, I start to forget about food and my appetite goes down, and I find it easier to ignore the odd hunger pang from a fasting point, if I'm fasting, and go without. So for me, I might have my breakfast, I should say, anywhere between 7 and 8 o'clock, depending on my work schedule and who I'm training, and could have my dinner as early as 4 o'clock and then not eat till the next day. Okay. And I don't do that every day, by the way. This is something that you can do. You can play around with that fasting window to mean that you fast on 2 or 3 days a week. So just ease yourself into it and see how it works. Some people, some of my clients do it on weekdays, so maybe say Monday to Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because they're going into the weekends, just relax a little bit, just because you don't always have the same schedule at the weekends. It would stop you maybe from having a night out or meeting a friend for breakfast, etc. Okay, so just make it work for you. So that's one thing that you can look at. Another thing that you can look at is reducing your carbohydrates, so that you're going towards a more ketogenic type of diet. Now, these types of diets work mainly because you're eating fewer carbohydrates, therefore your body doesn't have to process as much sugar, and that can help with the insulin sensitivity and can be quite an effective weight loss tool. When you're not eating carbohydrates, or as many carbohydrates, your calories have got to come from somewhere. So so you'd have to maybe eat more protein, have a little bit more fat. You can always want to have plenty of vegetables to fill you up and give you fibre. But that combination of higher fat, higher protein in your meals is very, very satiating, okay? And that means it really is very satisfying and really is very filling. And ketogenic diets can work simply because they just are very powerful at switching off that hunger signal, so that you don't have as many cravings. People who have a lot of cravings can find that a ketogenic diet is really effective for them because it has a powerful sort of switch off of the cravings. So that can be something that you can look at. However, it's a very hard diet to follow if you have a sweet tooth or enjoy sweeter foods like fruits, because you really can only have very, very few. And it's probably a stressor for you if you end up trying to follow a keto diet and then caving in at the weekends and having the cakes and having the sweets and things. It's you're going back to that good week, bad weekend mentality that starts to mess with your head. Okay, so you don't feel that you have to do any particular type of approach. As I said at the beginning, find something that's not so stressful for you, that fits with your lifestyle. Be honest with yourself. Be honest about what you need, what works for you, what makes you tick, what gives you, is the easiest option and the most easy on your brain option. That's what you want to go for. Okay, so that's something that you can do, lowering the carbohydrates, doing the fasting window. You can combine the two of those as well, so they don't have to be mutually exclusive. If you find that the lower carb works for you, you can do lower carb, try that for a bit, and then start to reduce your eating window. So that's how you can start to layer on these approaches. Another one to look at is eating when you're hungry and stopping when you are full. Often we follow set meal times for convenience or for routine, or to fit in with other people in our lives, or to fit in around work. So, we have set times where we can eat in the mornings, we have set times where we can eat in the afternoons maybe, and then we might be preparing a meal for ourselves and our families in the evening, and we never truly wait or eat when we're hungry. So again, don't feel pressured to do this. If you really can't extract yourself from that family routine, or it just makes too much work for you to try and sit there and eat when you're hungry and wait for that, then don't bother with it. If you can make that fit and work in your life, and you're able to just sit there, wait till you're hungry, then give it a try. You wait till you're hungry, and you're not the time to eat is when those hunger signals are staying with you for a long time. I can feel hungry very easily. I think my imagination tells me I'm hungry sometimes. So you have to learn to differentiate between your brain trying to kid you into eating something for a different reason versus actually being truly hungry. And you'll feel that here. So you'll feel the sort of stomach pangs, you know what I mean? And, it comes, it goes, it comes, it goes, and it starts to build up until you've almost got this constant sensation of being hungry. You're not trying to get to a point when you're starving. It's not an endurance exercise. It's really just allowing your natural appetite signals to sort of govern when you eat, and tune into when your body is saying, okay, I'm ready for some food now. And then you eat. You keep eating until you start to feel full and start to notice that you're losing the interest in the food that you're eating. So your taste buds actually change to make the food feel very unpalatable when you've had enough. That's a signal that it says you've eaten enough. Not everyone has that. I'm one of them. Okay, my daughter cannot eat another mouthful when she's full. It doesn't matter what you would put in front of her: cake, chocolate, ice cream, birthday cake. It doesn't make any difference. It's not going in. I'm full. I've never met anyone like that before. It takes after a dad, not me. But that's something that you again can look at, because once you start to sort of reset your natural appetite, then, and not allow yourself to override it by saying, okay, well, I'm full of this savoury stuff, but I'm ready, I could eat some ice cream or some chocolate cake. That's cheating. You're going around there. So you're learning to pay attention to natural hunger and fullness signals and eating accordingly. And, again, that's something that may or may not work for you, may or may not appeal to you, but it's something that you can do to have a try. So there are 3 strategies that you can try to sort of take things to the next level. When we're eating the right amount of food for ourselves and eating the right composition of foods, and by that I mean plenty of protein, healthy fat, not too many carbohydrates, it's going to help with our weight loss. It helps with healthier aging, giving our bodies a really important rest when we're not eating. We're allowing it to do other jobs, to clean itself up, to repair, to rebuild things. That's why, not eating all the time can actually help with aging. And also I mentioned about the insulin sensitivity. If we're eating fewer carbohydrates, we're not constantly grazing on carbohydrate, sugary foods, then we're actually allowing our hormones to reset, which gives us a healthier body and a healthier weight. All right, hope that's helped. Good luck with it. I'd love to know what you try and what works for you. But remember, you're an individual, so do what works for you best. Okay, till the next time.